everyone, and welcome to another very special episode of Dan the Movie Man. First, let me start off by saying if you have not seen um, all the whole thing of season 4 of Stranger Things, I'm cautioning you. I go I will I'm going to spoil it. So if you haven't seen all of season 4, now is your chance because I am going to go into very specific details about a little bit about episode 8 and episode 9 titled The Piggyback. So now's your chance. One, two, three. Your chance is done. Too late. I'm Alright, so this is part 2 of my review of part 1. So obviously I'm going to be talking about the piggyback, the final episode. I would. This is a very long episode. I think it's 2.5 hours, but I think this. I kind of look at this. 8 and 9 is kind of one big episode. 8 was called Papa, not so combined. Uh, total time combined 8 and 9 is roughly 4 hours, and I stayed up. This season. The part 2 was released on July 1st. I set my alarm at 3 o'clock. Netflix shut down, so I kept getting up every hour, and by 7 or 8 o'clock, I was able to watch it, and I was blown away by these last 2 episodes, specifically episode 9. I'm going to go into detail about the stuff that I really liked. One of the things that I really liked was Eddie Munson. He played Masters of Puppets by Metallica. As you can see with me in the poster, from now on, every time I hear that song, I would think of that scene. It was a great scene. My jaw was dropping. I was cheering. Um, and let me just go into the deaths now. There were a couple of deaths. Eddie died. Eddie Munson sacrificed himself. Max sort of died, but she really didn't. And that bully, I think his name was Jason, died too. But let me just talk about Eddie's death for a second. I really liked the connection that Eddie had with Dustin this season. It wasn't as strong as Dustin and um, Steve had, but it was pretty close. And I think, if I'm right, in episode 8, I think Eddie said to Dustin, "Never change Dustin Henderson." That was a great line. And you know, Dustin, it was a Dustin saw what happened. It was a very emotional moment for Dustin. I was even crying myself because I thought Eddie was a great character in this season. I didn't really think he should have died, or nor did he deserve to die. The other scenes that made me cry um, in this episode where Max sort of died. The scene where Lucas is holding Max and is pretty much like crying and begging her not to go, and Max vice versa, like telling her that he isn't, saying to him that like she's not ready to die. The two actors in the scene, Caleb McLaughlin and Sadie Sink, who I mentioned a lot briefly in my last review, this particular scene really shows how how good of an actress she was throughout this entire season. And specifically, Caleb McLaughlin, who plays Lucas, he did an outstanding job in this scene. And last scene that I cried, and I was crying pretty hard at this scene, was whenever Hopper and Eleven reunited at the end of the episode. David Harbour is great as Hopper. I personally think he plays, like, whenever he's the dad, so to speak, for Eleven, he is great. He has a lot of qualities to him of being a father, loving, caring, and those are two those are two characteristics that I see in my own father. So yeah, and I really liked how Hopper and Joyce finally got together in this episode, because kind of 8 and 9 kind of like jumble to me because I think of them as one big episode, but they were hinting at this I think pretty much throughout the entire series, and it finally happened. I was really glad that it happened. Um, yeah. Um, so I would, if I were to give this whole season a letter grade, not just specifically episode 4, but 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 the whole season, I would give this an A. If I were to rank this season in terms of like best versus worst, my favorite season is certainly the first season, then 4, then 3, then 2. I think 2 is the weakest season. Um, the only thing that happened in season 2 that I liked was they had Dustin and Steve. They developed a nice bond and connection there, and they continued to grow throughout the seasons. And that they brought in Max. So, and obviously season 1 is my favorite because this was a brand new show. Nobody knew what the hell it was, how strong it was going to be. We got introduced to all these new, different characters. Dustin being my favorite. So yeah, that's it. Goodbye.